So in this video, we're going to do an upgrade of VLOOKUP, which is basically going to be index match and then combining index match with indirect in this next sheet. So basically with VLOOKUP, you can have, you can look up data, say for example, look up this name in this array, and then you type in what column you want it to give you. So the fifth column would be what title he has. But if you do sixth column, then that's level, seventh is compensation, and so on and so forth. But VLOOKUP is a lot less flexible than index match. So with index match, you can do, for example, on its own it's not super useful, but just to show how it works, you would have an index, or sorry, an array, and then you would do, say, 2 and 2, and it'll tell you 2 rows down, 2 columns to the right. So here it's saying level 3. If you move the, say, column, say, to number 5, that's one too many. Let's look at number 4. Then it's moved to the bonus pool. So if you did, for example, 1, it goes back to the title, and then you move this as 3, it'll go down by 1. And then 4, it'll go down again. So you have this function, and then you combine it with match function. And then this one, so for example, it'll look up compensation in this array, and then it'll give you a number. So you can see how we're looking for numbers before. Now this is a number that here you have a list, so if you change this number will keep changing. So that's kind of how you make it more dynamic. The only limitation of match is that it can only do either one row or one column. So for example, if you try to do an array with 2 rows, then it'll give you an error. So here you see how I add 1. So it only works with either one row or one column. So starting with this one, we would do, this would be our array, and then absolute referencing. And so for the row, we want to match the names. So they're here. So we're going to do match. Lookup value would be this one. Lookup array right here. And then exact match. And we would do the same with the row, basically the columns. So okay, so close the match bracket and then close the index bracket. And so yeah, you can see how we can look up the name. You can look up level, so that one's working. And yeah, if you drag it to the right and down, it also works. There you go. So now you can see how with index match, that's something you couldn't really do with VLOOKUP. So you can see how just in this very simple situation, it's already more useful. Okay, so indirect, it's an even better way of doing things. So indirect allows you to look at things in different sheets. So I made a really simple example where you just have sales, and then each sheet is a different year. So for example, here you can do, if you do the indirect function, if you do B3, it's basically just telling you what's in cell B3. It's just linking back to the cell. So if you change this to B4, it'll link back to that cell, and you can combine it to look up things in different sheets. But then the convention will be a little bit tricky. It's pretty finicky with the way it wants to read things. So here you notice there's an apostrophe here, and then another apostrophe here, and then an exclamation point. So you would do indirect, open quotations, type in the apostrophe, close quotations, and then you would do an ampersand, which basically is just kind of like an extension. And so here we have 2013, so click that, and then another ampersand, and then open quotations, apostrophe, exclamation point, and then say B3, close the quotation marks, and so now it's pulling 350, which is this number. So if we change this to say 500, you'll see how this changed to 500. Okay, so now we're going to combine it with index, and index, if you remember, it's an array. So the array that we want here is A1 to B3. So the way we're going to type it will be index, and then for the array we'll do indirect, so that it'll close everything. So quotation, apostrophe, close quotation, ampersand, and then type in this cell, and then ampersand again, open quotations, 2, 3, and then we're going to do absolute referencing on these cells, and then close quotations. So that's just the array, and then for rows and columns, let's just type in a couple numbers to see if it worked. So there we go. So it's pulling 300. So it did work. Okay, yeah, that's too many to the right. There's not enough columns. Okay, it is working. So for match, what we're going to do is we're going to say match. So this is the rows that we're looking for. So match Michael. And then lookup array, we're going to copy this. And paste it there. So given that match can only look up one thing at a time, so one column at a time or one row at a time, we're going to change this from A1 to B3 to A1 to A3. And then comma 0, so that closes the match function, and then now we're going to replace the 2 with another match formula. So match, we're do 2013. We're going to paste again the previous formula, and here we're going to go from A1 to B1, and then comma 0, and then so that closes the match function, and then I believe this one closes the index function. So that worked. That didn't. So as you can see, even though it's such a simple example, there's already a lot of numbers, so things can get kind of complicated quickly. So here, let's see, if I copy down, that doesn't work either. So let's just delete this, see if problem was there. Okay, so the problem is on this function. Yeah, and the problem is just the referencing here. So this should have been here. So yeah, now it worked. So let's go match 2013. And then so for lookup array, we're just going to copy this again. A1 to B1, 0, and then close that. Okay, so that worked, and that worked as well. So there you go, there you have it. It looks not super useful in this example because this you can easily put them all into one sheet, but there will be situations in which you can't really put things all in the same sheet and you'll need to look up things in different sheets.